name is Rhonda Brady. I'm one of the Monarch Watch conservation specialists. I'm also a University of Illinois Extension Master Gardener and University of Illinois Extension Master Naturalist. They call me the Butterfly Lady in these parts of Illinois. I don't want my grandchildren to only know monarchs because of a specimen like this. I would like them to see live monarch butterflies. And conservation is needed for live butterflies to still exist. When we think of monarch habitat and we think of monarch conservation, habitat is conservation, or the conservation that we're doing for monarchs is creating habitat for the monarchs. They go hand in hand. The words are basically interchangeable. Monarch habitat is monarch conservation. We can talk about the habitat needed for the adult butterflies, which is nectar. And we can have butterflies with nectar. But to really have habitat for the monarch butterfly, we need to think of the entire life cycle. The egg, the caterpillar, the pupa or chrysalis, and then the adult. The very first stage of the monarch life cycle, the egg. The female monarch lays the egg only on Asclepias, which is milkweed. Asclepias is the Latin family of milkweeds. But there are many, many milkweeds that grow here in Illinois. The reason this egg has to be on the milkweed is the host plant for the caterpillar. And if the caterpillar doesn't have milkweed to eat, it won't grow. So if we don't have milkweed for the egg and the caterpillar stage, then we don't worry about the adults because we won't have them. We got to have the first two stages and the third stage of the chrysalis before we can have the adult monarchs. When we think of monarch habitat, you have to remember that monarchs have evolved over centuries to be where they're at. And there are many, many flowers in the world. And a lot of people like particular flowers. But for monarch habitat, the best flowers, the best plant material are those that are naturally growing in the area that you are in. And we call those native plants, plants that have been here for a long time and have evolved. We have monarchs all over, all the way up into Canada, the northern range of milkweed plants. But as the days start to get shorter and it gets cooler at night, the temperature and the day length tell the monarch butterfly adults that they need to get out of here. So those that emerge from their chrysalis in mid-August through the end of the fall have got to leave. When they come out of their chrysalis, their wings, the top wing is a little longer. Their abdomen is a little smaller. They are not sexually mature and they start flying south. Now along the way, they actually gain weight as they stop to nectar on all the many plants that are around. And then they end up in the mountains west of Mexico City in Oromel fir trees. Now that's not the only part of the migration, because those butterflies spend the winter in a semi-hibernation state. And then late February, early March, they wake up, they become sexually mature, they breed, and they start flying north. Now the females, when they get into Texas, Louisiana, along the Gulf Coast, they're looking for milkweeds to lay their eggs. Then when those eggs hatch from the egg, become a caterpillar, pupate, make their chrysalis, and then become adults, they start going farther north. When you think of the monarchs in North America, you're really thinking of monarchs that are citizens of Mexico and the United States and Canada. Together, the three governments have been working closely with the Mexican government to actually have the overwintering sites as biosphere preserves. When we tag monarchs, we do that with Monarch Watch. That's an entity based at the University of Kansas Entomology. There are other efforts to track the butterflies and to monitor the butterflies. Out in California, they have a Thanksgiving butterfly count. They also do some tagging on the West Coast to understand more about the butterflies, where they're coming from and how far they're going. The Monarch Watch tagging program, as I said, is for those butterflies east of the Rockies. And we know that butterflies from up in Canada have gone all the way to Mexico and then traveled back into the states along the Gulf Coast in the spring. That's quite a distance for a little butterfly to travel. Monarch Joint Venture is a collective of entities: Monarch Watch, the Xerces Society, the Monarch Larva Monitoring Project, and Monarch Health, based at the University of Georgia. There's quite a bit of effort going into conservation for the monarch butterfly, and they work together very nicely to try to help the monarch. If I was asked what was my call to action, my answer would be plant milkweed, plant nectar. The more plants we have, the habitat we have, the better the monarch will survive. We need to plant anytime we can, any place we can. We need diverse plant material. We need to avoid chemicals, but we have to have both milkweed and nectar source for the entire life cycle of the monarch butterfly. Just keep planting.